If it's your first time here, my name is Dan Ferrari, and in my early 20s, I was completely confused and lost when it comes to dating. I didn't know how to attract the women I wanted. I didn't know how to speak to the women that I wanted, but that all changed when I decided to dedicate 5 years of my early 20s to mastering attraction, social dynamics, female psychology, and networking. And following that phase of my life completely changed. Today, I go on at least one date a week with a super attractive woman without even trying. I also live a lifestyle that I pretty much dreamed of since the very beginning, but most importantly, not only was I able to meet even more attractive, high quality women, but I was able to make even more money and live a lifestyle that I can only dream of. It has taken me 5 years to develop this skill set and get to this point in my life, and I'm not even getting started. However, it doesn't have to take 5 years for you, because this channel is dedicated to sharing all the knowledge that has gotten me to where I am today to save you time. So if what I'm saying resonates with you and you're looking to achieve greatness in your dating life, your social life, and your networking, you are in the right place. And this channel, including this video, is made for you. Let's get on with the video. Enjoy. Let's break down some limiting beliefs that most men have when it comes to dating. And you have to be open here with this rewiring of your beliefs and your views about dating and women, because this is the stuff that is actually going to help you understand the techniques that you are going to learn and the things that you will be doing in person and why those things work. Otherwise, if you just want the technique, you just want the line to say, it's like you falling from a tree and breaking your arm and just putting a band-aid on it and hoping that the bone will go back into normal. That's obviously not going to work. There needs to be a structural rearrangement inside so that it can look normal again from the outside. The band-aid is just not going to work, and that's the same thing with this. So without any further ado, let's dive into the limiting beliefs and break them down one by one. And the first limiting belief that most men have is that this stuff, learning seduction, learning to communicate with women in an attractive way, becoming a more attractive version of myself, is not going to work. It doesn't work for me. This isn't for me. It's just not going to work. That's what most guys tell themselves. And let me tell you this, whether you're short, tall, brown, white, black, whatever the case may be, there is somebody just like you right now, today, living the life that you want. I can guarantee you that. And the only difference between that guy and you, who may be exactly the same, is that he believed that he could get the results that he wants, even if he comes from behind or if he has some disadvantages. I mean, I'm an example of this. I come from pretty down rock bottom. I mean, I'm not an attractive guy. I'm not tall. I'm not rich. I mean, there are so many things that I could say about me that are actually wrong, but I believed. I wanted to work on myself, and I believed that the work that I was doing with myself would get me some level of results. And it did, and it actually exceeded my expectations. So it's cliche, but it's true. Most men are simply just limited by their beliefs, not in just dating, but pretty much any aspect of life. And please remember that the nature behind dating has not changed. What women were attracted to back in the days in the caveman time are still the attraction triggers of today. The only thing that has changed is the skill men require nowadays to succeed with women. The nature behind dating has not changed. The skill that is required to succeed in it nowadays is what has changed. And learning the stuff that I'm talking about and that you will learn in this community and this course is exactly the skill that allows you to pierce through the noise, the distractions, the social conditioning that women have, all this crazy stuff that is going on in today's modern world, so that you can come on top and put yourself in a situation where nature does its thing the same way it has done for decades and millions of years. And the other interesting thing is, you don't need to become a master seducer. You don't need to get to a autistic level that I got to myself. Literally, you can make small increment changes this week and you will see results in your dating life, in the way that you feel and in the way people respond to you. You don't need to spend months and years doing what I do and going hardcore on this stuff. All the information that you need is in here. Implement it and you will see results extremely quickly. The other limiting belief that men have is that women only like good-looking men. And this is the biggest one that stops guys from taking action, from going after what they want. And all I'm going to say is, remember that back in the caveman time, women were not looking for the most attractive men to survive. They were looking for the men who had resources, the men who were capable, the men who showed competence of survival, the men who were leaders, and the guys who had the survival skill to basically allow those women to survive if they were with them. And those competences and skills and traits have not changed. I'm actually going to share a story with you that is a perfect example of this. And I basically once went out to a nightclub in a nice city that I can't name for obvious reasons. And basically, long story short, there was these two Polish girls that I have noticed. One of them was not very attractive and the other one was extremely beautiful. And the obviously beautiful one had spent most of the night with this guy who was extremely attractive, very tall guy, dark, handsome, what you would consider a good-looking guy today. And basically all that guy did for the entire night in the nightclub was to just be stuck with this girl and dance with her in the dance floor, waiting until the club closed to hopefully take her home. And he completely neglected the friend, and the friend that, you know, less attractive friend was just simply dancing on her own, and she obviously felt a little bit bad about it. And her friend, she was trying to be nice and bring her into the interaction and bring her into the fun. But I've noticed this, and me being me and knowing the skill that I have about dating and seduction, I played that in my favor, because I noticed that that guy, yes, he was good looking, but he had no game. He did not understand simple social dynamics and female psychology. So my whole strategy that night was to actually bump into these girls every now and then throughout the night and just having a very nice, fun, chill interaction with them, and including the unattractive friend in the interaction. So I would bump into these girls and have fun and make some jokes and basically just be this cool guy who's just social and is just having fun and is talking to people. And you can see the contrast between me being that cool social guy, bringing value in the party to people, and the guy who is simply just stuck to this girl that he wants to take home and being all needy, clearly showing that he has an agenda to want to take this girl home. And long story short, the nightclub started to close and people started to go out, and on the way out I bumped into these two girls with the handsome guy that was obviously still with the attractive girl. He was trying to take her home, and all it took me for me to basically end up going home with that girl was to look at her and be like, oh, you're already cheating on me, Jesus Christ, I only left you for like 2 minutes, what's going on, have a little bit of a fun interaction and be like, hey girls, let's go, we're going to an after party, come, let's go. And literally, as I said this, they were like, yeah, let's go. And we start walking towards this car, and we get into this car, and then eventually the guy just get dumped, and she's like, no, just leave the car. And then it's just me and these two girls in the car. And then about like 10 minutes into the ride, the less attractive friend literally says, hey guys, drop me off here and then you guys can go. She basically just helped me out to go home with her attractive friend because I was fun and I was including her in the party as opposed to what the other attractive guy did. And next thing you know, I end up going home with this incredibly attractive girl, literally like way outside of my league. And what happens, a gentleman never remembers. But this is a very simple example of how when you are an attractive guy, but you have no game, you don't understand the psychology of seduction and female psychology, you are going to end up losing attractive women to guys like me who may not be the best looking guys, but we fucking understand how the game is played and we come on top. So if there is any story that you can remind yourself that looks don't matter as much, is this one. And also one last thing, remember about the caveman analogy. Well, also caveman did not have mirrors back in the days. So basing your confidence and your self-worth on what you're seeing in a mirror is completely false and just inaccurate, because back in the days, those men who were actually confident were getting the women, and I don't think they ever knew what the fuck they looked like. The third limiting belief that men have is that women do not like older men or old men. And this could not be any further from the truth, because if you think about what women find attractive in men, and even women will say it themselves, I mean, I don't think this is a secret, they are attracted to masculinity, leadership, life experience, maturity. If you're an older guy, it doesn't matter if you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, or whatever the case may be, you would have more of these traits than a 20-year-old boy that is still partying in a university or whatever the fuck they do these days. What's attractive about a 20-year-old dude that knows nothing about life, that has no experience? There is literally nothing that guy can offer a woman that she actually finds attractive. It doesn't matter if she's a younger woman or if she's a slightly older woman, it doesn't matter. They're all the fucking same. And I think the biggest concern that men have is that what if the younger younger women that you have attraction for think that it's weird that you're an older guy. And this is very interesting because what that actually is, if women are asking you, oh, how old are you? Or do you not think that it's a little bit weird that, you know, you're an older guy or anything like this? They are basically testing your frame. They are testing your reality, because you have to understand that women are followers. They want to fall into the masculine frame. They want to be led. They don't want to lead. They want someone to show them the way. And her saying, oh, do you not find that a little bit weird or out of place? She is looking to see how strong is your reality, how strong is your frame as a man. And if you own it and say, I'm a strong believer that men are attracted to purity and have a strong desire and fulfillment in being leaders. And if that means that they find that desire and that attraction in younger women, it is simply nature. And I do believe that women actually want to be with a man who's a leader, who has experience, who can guide them through the world, and who can make life easier for them. If your reality is this strong and this good-willed, it is hard for any woman to say, well, do you know what? I don't really believe this, or it's hard to see how this can be beneficial to me. So own your frame, own your reality. And funnily enough, if you do this, you will display leadership, and all of a sudden she will think, well, this guy is so sure of his reality. He's so sure of his frame. Well, he's definitely a leader. And all of a sudden now she's attracted to you, because remember, women love men who are leaders, love men who have a strong reality. And this leads me nicely into my final point on this limiting belief, is that women experience attraction way differently than men. Men look at the visual cues. They look at younger, attractive women and think that, okay, she is attractive. And the older they get, the less attractive they find them. And you think that women experience attraction for men the same way. You think the older the guy is, the less attractive he is, because you're seeing it through a man's lens. But it's actually the opposite. Women experience attraction through your behaviors, through how you make them feel, and not so much about your age and or your look. Remember my story about the girl from the nightclub? The fourth limiting belief that men have is that women only want men who have money. And this one is just being used everywhere. It's being used to manipulate you into buying courses, into trying to buy into businesses, into invest into some things. I mean, a lot of people are just fear-mongering men into thinking that if they don't have money, they cannot succeed with women. And this is just not true, because women do not need your money nowadays anyways, right? Women can get jobs, women can provide for themselves. The only type of woman that you are going to attract if you're going to lead with your money is women who are looking for exactly this, money, not you. Right? Especially if you're a successful guy who has done well for himself and you have abundant money. It is very easy to think, do you know what? Let me persuade her to go on a date with me because I'm going to pick a very expensive restaurant. And leading with money is simply going to make you look like a provider. And women will happily use you for your resources and the nice meals and the experiences. But at the end of the date, she would say that, oh, she's very tired and she will go home. Meanwhile, she's actually going to her lover, who probably lives in his bum's basement, and do all the nasty things under the sun with him whilst you're going home by yourself. So do not lead with money, even if you have it. The fifth limiting belief that men have is that it's different where I live. The women here where I live, they're just not the same. And let me tell you this, the grass is always greener. If you're in America, you think the women in Europe are easier. If you're in Europe, you think the women in America are easier. If you're in the Middle East, you think that women everywhere are easier. The grass is always greener on the other side. That's what we always think as men. And the reason for this is because you feel this way in the environment that you have grown up in, because that is the very environment that has socially conditioned you. Here is a thought experiment for you. Say, for example, you went to Vegas right now with 10 of your male friends or 5 of your male friends, and you landed in Vegas. What would your attitude be? Would you be like, oh, do you know what? Women here are just, no, whatever. Like, let's just stay home, guys. Or would you be like, guys, let's just fucking hit the clubs. Let's go out. Let's have fun. This is fucking Vegas, baby. Well, it's most likely the second behavior that you will have. And that just shows you how you can act differently in different environments, because you have a different affinity to that very environment, which is completely constructed in your brain. But the reality is, women are all the fucking same. They respond to the same fucking triggers. The same way every single guy around the world has the same desires, so do women as well. Yes, women who are religious. Yes, women who are married, unfortunately. Yes, women who are professionals and have very good high-paying jobs. Yes, women who have been divorced. Yes, women who are virgins. They are all the same. And the sixth and final limiting belief that men have about dating and women is that women do not like sex, or they just do it because they kind of have to, or they kind of feel obliged to do it. And this is the biggest misunderstanding that men have in today's society, because I will tell you that women actually like sex more than men. If you ever see a woman orgasm, it looks like she is literally being possessed. The strength of the emotions that she is feeling is 10 times stronger than what we feel as men when we orgasm. They absolutely love it. And not only do they orgasm in one way, they orgasm in many different ways. I believe there is a dozen ways in which women can orgasm. It's incredible. But the only reason why women do not openly talk about sex, or at least perhaps with you, is because they have this reputation that they have to protect. And they do not want to be slut-shamed for being sexually opened. And the reason for this is how our biology has developed. Because back in man cave time, if a woman was found out to have cheated, she would literally be kicked out of the tribe and therefore have to survive on her own out there in the wild, which is basically impossible. So they have had to learn to suppress that openness of their sexuality and their sexual freedom to never be outcast from their tribes, and therefore allow themselves and their offsprings to survive. So that means in today's modern day and age is that if you are a man who is actually non-judgmental about sexuality, about sleeping with a girl, if you're not going to judge her for sleeping with you the very same night that you met or the very first date that you go on, she is most likely or very likely to sleep with you on the very first night if she doesn't feel like she is going to be judged for it. And this leads me into the biggest lesson that you have to learn as a man, and that is that women put men into two different categories. You have the provider and the lover. And based on how you portray yourself to be one or the other, she will act completely differently and have completely different views on different topics. For example, if you act like the provider, she is most likely going to make you wait 2, 3, 4, 5 dates before anything intimate can happen. If you are portraying yourself to be the lover guy, she would literally go home with you within an hour of spending time with you. This is how women protect their reputation based on what guy they have in front of them. So you don't want to be the provider, you want to be the lover. And we will talk more about this in the next chapters, but this is the general concept.